Welcome, Gunrunner.
Everybody, Kieran Laird here, and welcome to my second part of my Ultimate Future Games retrospective. If you haven't seen the first video, then you should probably go and watch that first. I'll link it in the description and up in the top right hand corner if you want to go see it, because I gave a lot of history of the magazine, where it came from, etc. And I'm not going to go over that again. I'd rather just get straight on with looking at some more issues. I've got four, I think, in fact, to look at. Oh no, I've got three and some bits, which I'll go into. But the first issue we've got here is issue 11, which is from October 1995, UK's best-selling super console magazine, only £2.50, and get hooked on PlayStation on the cover, because Ultimate Future Games, as I said in the first episode, absolutely hyped the PlayStation to oblivion. It's no surprise that the PlayStation was the juggernaut that it was and took over quite quickly, because magazines like this were just hyping it so massively. And I think that they were probably getting quite a few brown envelopes off Sony at this time. Sony were known for the backhanded ways that they were promoting the PlayStation. It was picked up on by their rivals. So that really wouldn't surprise me at all. And as many people know, the UK was very much a Sega dominated zone at that point, and the Saturn was very much the early leader in that console war. The Saturn was apparently outselling the PlayStation by 2-1 at the start, before the hype train kind of went into full flow. And Sega didn't help themselves as well with the way that they didn't release anywhere near enough games over here. Lots of games didn't come over from Japan or even indeed America. Saturn was really badly handled, to be honest, in Europe. So let's go. So there we go. It says start of the PlayStation hype there, straight at the front. I think we've had a PlayStation hype ad for like in pretty much every single issue. Handheld Mega Drive out of Christmas. That would be the Nomad. Oh yeah, artist impression of the Nomad. That's just a slightly photoshopped Game Gear with 6 buttons, and it looks really stupid. So I don't know who the terrible artist was that came up with that. They weren't just going to add 4 more ill-suited buttons to a Game Gear, were they really? Sega International Rally. No, it's just Sega Rally. Come on, guys. They like to get in the titles of games wrong. They did that quite often for some reason in this magazine. Cyber Speed. PlayStation. Oh, the magazine's slipping down already. So more Ultra 64. They like to get on about that a lot. And they did lots of like puff pieces to the Ultra 64 that didn't really say much apart from, yeah, this is a console by Nintendo and it's coming out. It was a bit strange, really, especially as they even mentioned it on the cover as like they were covering it. And all they would have is this one article just talking about it's coming out, you know. Sega Saturn cheap is going to be cheaper, good. It was too expensive to start with. I bought one when the price went down a bit. I don't know why this is slipping so much. It's getting really annoying. I wasn't doing that when I did the previous video. Shining Wisdom, Sega Saturn. Darkstalkers, Steam Gear Mesh, Magic Knight Ray-Earth, that's the Saturn previews. King of the Night Fighters 95 Neo Geo CD, Wing Arms, Saturn. I really like Wing Arms, really cool game. Very underrated. Console Barometer. So again, they're saying that the Jacob is doing terribly and the PlayStation's winning. Of course it is. So there we go. Primal Rage. Actually mentioned Primal Rage in the previous video because they did a couple of features on Primal Rage. God's sake. It keeps slipping down. Bear with me a moment. Okay, hopefully that's sorted that out a bit. So yeah, they're talking about Primal Rage again, what it's coming to. DEFCON 5. Guardian Heroes. one of my very, very favourite Saturn games. So good. So good. Guardian Heroes. Gadgets. Here's our mailbox. Anything interesting in here? Have a quick scan down some of these names. Here, is anyone I recognise? I don't see any. No. Atra Golf, Atra Soccer. Love Atra Golf so much. Such a good game. Atra Soccer's not so good, but Atra Golf, brilliant. Street Fighter 0 and Virtua Fighter 2 in the arcades. Ultimate Future Show. Okay, more adverts. Winner PlayStation. Advert for Games Master magazine. It's another future publication from that era. And a big feature on the Virtual Boy. It's got Mario Tennis 75, Tolero Boxer 39. They hated that. Red Alarm 70, Galactic Pinball 76, Panic Bomber 60. So he didn't really like any of the games that much. Didn't go mad for any of them. Breeders with their consoles. Nice to see some with a Jaguar up the top there. Namco on the PlayStation. Shows the early stuff there as well at pole position. So Tekken 2 there as well. Wipeout is here. So they went mad on that. As you can see, massive review, 6 pages. Never go 6 pages to anything really in this. Some of their reviews are tiny and then they give massive 6 pages to that. 93%. And then they've got Bug on the Saturn, which they liked as well, 90%. White Men Can't Jump, almost got a full page, but weirdly they put some Bug screenshots on the side of it. Strange. But they hated it, 35. I bought it anyway and really enjoyed it, to be honest. It gets a lot of hate, White Men Can't Jump, but I've always liked it, especially in 4-player. Get 4 of you playing it. The team tap and it's brilliant. Philosema, didn't like that. Dragon Ball Z, didn't like that, did they? 39 and 49. Street Fighter, the movie. They hyped that to buggery in this magazine. There's 61. Killer Instinct, 80%. That's the SNES version, of course. D, on the Saturn 84, Rugby World Cup, 76. J-League winning 11. On the PlayStation, 80. Panzer General 3DO, 70. Clockwork Knight 2, 60. Balls on 3DO, terrible game, 51. FX Fighter 84. Space Hulk 80. Right to those. So Rayman, that is the PlayStation version, and they gave it 77, which is just crazy. 77. Antiquated gameplay. As I mentioned in the previous video, Ultimate Future Games seemed to hate anything that was 2D. They thought 2D games weren't next generation and nobody should be releasing 2D games. Nobody. They just really hated on anything that was 2D. Virtual Volleyball, what's that on? Saturn. 25. It does look quite crap, to be fair. 3D Lemmings. PC version, yeah, 90. Classifieds, and that's that in that issue. Set that to one side. Next we have a mystery issue. As I said in the last episode, I've got a few that have got no covers. This is one of them, unfortunately. So let's have a look what we've got in this one then. Oh, so this must be the cover then for this one. It says April 96. There we go. So Ultra 64 is no more. So let's talk about it, the name changing to Nintendo 64. Often banging on about it in every single issue with no real clear details. So more about it there. Galactic Attack and Jupiter Strike. Galactic Attack, great game. Die Hard Trilogy, really good game that, coming soon. Wipeout. This is obviously before the other issue that we just looked at. The console barometer, let me guess, the Jaguar's doing terrible. Yeah, but not as bad as the Ultra 64, which wasn't even out. So it's stupid even including it. There we go. The Syndicate Wars. Midnight Run in the arcades. Creation. Stuff. M2, what the hell is going on? Obviously finding out what was going on with the follow-up to 3DO, which was ultimately never released, cancelled and never released. Letters, video CDs, Adidas Power Soccer. It was an alright footy game, that, for an early one. It wasn't as good as like Worldwide Soccer on the Saturn though. Onside, quite a flawed game. Its attempt to mix a football game with a management game didn't really work. Dungeon Keeper, Panzer Dragoon Zwei, easily one of my top 10 Saturn games. Absolutely adore it. Love it so much. Jaguar on verge of extinction. So they're already talking about the Jaguars about to die because it sold really badly, unfortunately, and Atari decided to pull out of the industry altogether. It was a sad day. Chronicles of the Sword. Loaded. This is release dates and stuff, it looks like. Oh no, it's not. It's not release dates. What we're talking about. It's cheat codes. It's moves and stuff. Release dates. Teach me to actually look properly. Shaka Hislop, great goalie he was. The winning formula. So talking about Formula 1. Big game changer that for the Saturn actually. Not Saturn, PlayStation even. Formula 1. Saturn version never came out. It was meant to. It was preview for the Saturn as well. Killer Instinct 2. 92%. That's an arcade review. Strange to arcade review there because I usually put them near the beginning. Descent, PlayStation 91. Timegate, PC CD-ROM 78. Johnny Bazooka Tone 40. It is quite a crap game to be fair. Not great. Guardian Heroes, love, love, love. I mean, this just says it all. They gave Guardian Heroes, widely regarded as one of the greatest games ever made, especially when you talk about the Saturn, they gave it 30%. And why did they give it 30%? Because they hated 2D games, because 2D games aren't next gen. I mean, what a bunch of nut jobs. And they reviewed Skyhammer, which would have been one of the last Jaguar games, but it was cancelled at very, very last minute. Shows what last minute it was, because magazines reviewed it and they liked it. They gave it 82%, and they were very rarely positive about the Jaguar, as I said. But they really liked Skyhammer. Such a shame it never got the commercial release. We never got it later until Songbird released it. But it's a fine, fine game. And they've got there the 3DO version of Primal Rage, which they gave 32. And they said, it's a bad version of a bad game, which is hilarious because they hyped the living daylights out of Primal Rage. They featured it numerous times in the magazine before the console ports came out, and went on about how bloody amazing it was in the arcades. And then they give it 32% and say it's a bad version of a bad game. It goes with what I said in the previous video, actually on my Future Games video, where I was saying about they always seem to change their mind completely and utterly on games and totally contradict themselves. And there's a perfect example. A game that were hyping to Oblivion, and then it comes out and they on a console and they slam it after going about how amazing it was in the arcade. There we go. True Pinball, 62. It's all right. It's not the best pinball game of that generation, certainly not. Casper on the Saturn, they gave it 41. Dreary, I quite liked it actually. Myst on the PlayStation, 70. Phoenix 3, 29%. What's that on 3DO? Oh dear. Namco Museum Volume 2, they gave it 62. I'm surprised they didn't give it like 7% or something actually, considering it's old games and they seem to hate old games. Horned Owl, what the hell is that? PlayStation 69. Gunbird, PlayStation 80. Twinbee Yahoo, PlayStation 88. More letters. And there we go. I was saying about in the last video about Daryl used to write in quite often. We've actually got a letter here. Daryl's still there. Daryl still again. And then actually a letter there from Martin Hooley from Imagitech Design. in this. This is the question and answer thing. So they've got lots of people in. Daryl's still again to answer questions here. So yes, that's interesting to see all of those in there. I've interviewed Daryl many times. Friends with him now. Great guy, and I've chatted a lot to Martin Hooley over the years as well. Another good guy, actually. Helped me out a lot with some various articles that I've done. So next we have issue 13, December 1995. Very eye-catching cover, I have to say. Supercharge. Lots of things. So no specific game on the cover. It was quite often like that with Ultimate Future games. There wasn't a specific game on the cover. It was just a kind of image representing lots of things, or a specific article that they were doing rather than a game. Fighting Vipers, Virtua Fighter 2, Virtua Cop 2 even, Sky Target, all cool games. Namco, Time Crisis, Taito, Konami, new Konami games. One of their millions of Ultra 64 updates, because they just did it every single bloody month. Robo Pit, Snow Job, advert for Shell Shock, Bargain of the Month. So there's Virtua Fighter 2, exclusive shots, they say, of the Saturn version. Rise of the Robots 2, The Resurrection. Really, you want to go there? But they did, unfortunately. There's the letters page. Agile Warrior preview. Computer Graphics Expo. True Pinball preview. Just saw a review of that actually, so this is kind of out of order, but that's alright. There's the first International Superstar Soccer on the SNES, the game that became PES, and now what's it called? E-Soccer or something stupid like that. Soul Edge. Arcades, Formula 1 live information on the Saturn. Great game, yeah, really. Didn't have enough tracks, I suppose, but it was still a very good game. Yeah, Jaguar doing really badly with lots of snot. Looks like Saturn and PlayStation were about even that month. Hang on, GP. It's alright, not what it could have been. Some preview. Sony's saying what they're coming soon for PlayStation. Supercharge, which is superhero games. Soundtracks. Adverts, bad adverts. Twisted Metal 89, PlayStation. WWF WrestleMania, they gave it 84. I never liked that game. I always thought it was crap. It's like Mortal Kombat with WWF, and I always wanted just a WWF game, especially since it had a good roster of wrestlers. But I didn't like the game. Never got on with it. Never liked it at all. Prime Goal EX 55. Didn't like that very much on PlayStation. Cyber Speed PlayStation 34. Didn't like that much, but it still gave it 2 pages. Still gave 2 pages to a game they hated. Just because it was on PlayStation, I'm guessing. Steam Gear Mash 47. Loaded 80. Probably deserves higher. Loaded was a brilliant game. Which version is that? PlayStation. SimCity 2000. It's a Saturn version. 90. Great game. Retro Soccer, they gave it 89. Probably a bit generous. Nova Storm. That's the PlayStation version. 33. Ruin a Pinball. Absolutely disgraceful. 23%. And called it 8-bit. Really just don't get that at all, because Ruin is a fantastic pinball game, really good, but they didn't like it at all. And there's Zoop there, 68. I thought it was going to be the Jag version, but it's actually the PC. Pitfall: The Man Adventure, tiny little review on the side. That is the Jag version, and they basically said it wasn't any better than the SNES version, so they gave it 61. After previously giving it scores in the 80s on the Mega Drive and SNES. But it is better than the SNES version. It's clearly better than the SNES version. So there, they obviously shows their bias, really. Wing Arms 50. Don't agree with that at all. Wing Arms is a great game. Virtua Tennis. PlayStation 73. Blade Force 65, and I said virtual tennis, not virtua. If anyone mentions that. The King Fighters 95. Neo Geo CD 90. Alien Odyssey 68. NHL Hockey 96. PC 89. Defcon 5. PlayStation 88. I thought that was a bit boring, that game, to be honest. There we go. Striker 96, 87, that's the PlayStation version. Big fan of the Striker games. I was gutted it never came out on the Jag. Despite apparently being near complete, according to people who worked on it. NBA Jam TE, that's the PlayStation one, they gave it 91. Zeitgeist 47. And that's it, more third degrees. There's some more answers from Daryl Still and stuff there in the pages. There we go. I'll have to get some screenshots of those and send them to Daryl. I'm pleased to see. So that's all the issues, and I said I had a couple of bonus extras which I wanted to bung in this video. I'm not sure which issues they came out of, but the first of all, I've got the Ultimate Future Games Psygnosis pull out. They did quite a few of these little mini magazines that were like pull out ones on various things. So this is a Psygnosis one. It's obviously mainly concentrating on the PlayStation, of course, because Psygnosis were kind of a first party developer really for the PlayStation. So there we go. Wipeout, PlayStation CD-ROM. It did come out on Saturn as well. Destruction Derby, again PlayStation PC CD-ROM. It did come out on Saturn as well. So, but the Saturn versions were later in most cases, and they did that on purpose because they obviously wanted it to be PlayStation exclusive to start with. There's 3D Lemmings. There is Crazy Ivan, again that did come out on the Saturn as well. Nova Storm PlayStation, that was on Mega CD, I remember. Assault Rigs, PlayStation PC. Discworld PlayStation, that was actually meant to come out. That came out on the Saturn, but it was meant to come out on loads of formats actually, including like the CDI. So I seem to remember that the CDI version was supposedly finished as well, but never released. And then the last one, get this till last, is because it's a cool Atari 64-bit pullout, and I remember this really well. And when I started going through this big bundle of magazines, I was really happy to see this in there, to acquire this again. So yeah, despite being massive Jag haters, they did put this in, but no doubt they were paid to do so, so they didn't really have any choice. So you'll see contents. There says games that are coming out. So Fight for Life. They got late 95. It's 96 in the end, I think, and it ended up being the last commercial Jaguar game. Ruiner 05 ended up being an aftermarket release by Telegames. Although an officially licensed one, so it kind of did come out just at the end of its lifetime. Ultra Vortex Skyhammer, Death Watch, which never came out sadly, Phase Zero. There is a prototype of that you can play. Songbird sell it. It's very, very impressive. Such a shame that game was never finished, really is. Power Drive, great game. Flip Out, Barclay Shut Up and Jam. Again, it was released, a complete prototype was released a few years back. B&C Computer Vision sold it, but never came out back then. Defender 2000, Attack of the Mutant Penguins. Gotcha, never came out, but the programmer recently revealed, I think, that it was finished, and we were hoping it would be leaked, but it never was. It was supposed to be a kind of a new version of an old Atari arcade game called Gotcha. So it's kind of one of their ones where they were bringing back old games. Super Burnout, White Man Can't Jump, Nerf Max Force never came out. No prototypes ever shown up, despite the fact it had been quite heavily previewed, so work must have been done on it. Brett Hull Hockey, another one B&C Computer Vision's released actually, and the CD version of Brett Hull was released by the Jaguar Sector 2 forum, which no longer exists sadly. Break It 2000 ended up being aftermarket Telegames release. Some third-party games. It's a bit strange actually. A few of these were supposedly third-party games, but they were in the Atari section, like Power Drive. I mean, that was definitely third-party. It's published by Time Warner, so, and that's Trimark Interactive. They weren't even published by Atari. There's some games that like Atari joined forces, so to speak, with other people. Like they co-released it with Midway Defender 2000, and Barclay would have been an accolade. But yeah, so it doesn't make much sense, that really. We've got MK3, which obviously never came out. NBA Jam TE, Pitfall, Rayman, CD-ROM, so Blue Lightning, VidGrid, talking about the capabilities of the CD-ROM. Varuna's Forces never came out, only it's available in prototype form. I actually did a limited run of my own prototype some years ago, which I believe is the most complete one in existence. Highlander, Creature Shock. There are prototypes of Creature Shock, and people have them, but it's never been released, which is sad. But it was certainly never finished. Soulstar, there is a complete prototype of that out there. I own one. Baldies, Mist, Battlemorph, Primal Rage, which is just a figure. Really strange. They all came out, of course. The Future. So other things, there's the Hover Strike CD, Demolition Man, Dragon's Lair, Missile Command 3D, which is the VR game, and that's kind of just a front reversed. And that's it. That's the conclusion of my second look at Ultimate Future games. More Jag hate, but not quite as bad as some of the other Jag hate, because we had some good review scores for some stuff there as well. I thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. There will be a part 3 coming at some point, so look out for that. I've been the Laird, and I'll see you all again for another video very soon. Bye bye.